Hello and welcome back to the High Vibe Honey podcast, a space where power meets peace, frequency meets finesse, and your next level doesn't require you to hustle harder, just calibrate deeper. I'm your host, Katie Rogers, soul-led leadership and embodiment coach for high-performing, heart-led women who are done performing their power and are ready to embody it. Here, we don't chase alignment, we become it. We decode identity, emotional capacity, somatic leadership, and the subtle energetics that make you magnetic. If you're a visionary woman who knows success is inevitable and you're ready for it to feel better in your body, cleaner in your business, and more rooted in who you really are, you're in the right space. This isn't surface level strategy, it is frequency first evolution. So let's get into it. Today, I'm joined by one of my favorite humans. She's been my client, my friend, my neighbor, and let me tell you, her evolution has been nothing short of phenomenal. Lhea Terzaki is a world-class Hyrox athlete and an industry-leading female performance coach. She specializes in helping women become unstoppable in Hyrox and beyond. And her business, Hylife, is really redefining what it means to train like a high-performing woman with identity and emotional capacity at the core. Leah's story is magnetic. From studying fashion design and navigating anxiety and depression to finding freedom through movement and building an online coaching brand after a deeply personal loss. Her journey is one of total transformation. And through sport, business, and grief, she's become the kind of leader who doesn't just lift heavy, she leads light. And today we're pulling back the curtain on what it really looks like to scale your power across every area of your life. Leah, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. It's been such an amazing journey, just even seeing the ways that you have shifted and changed in so many areas of your life over the last, what, like year and a half. But anyway, let's introduce yourself, your story, and share with the community who you are.
Well, obviously, I'm Leah. I'm the owner of Hylife Coaching, a industry-leading female hybrid fitness coaching company, where we basically take female athletes from average to unstoppable athletes, with our proven method. But aside from that, I'm also a Hyrox athlete too, who's well on my way up to the elites. Um, and yeah, we've been on a journey this last year, let me tell you.
Yeah. From building the business to expanding. I mean, just the way that you show up in competition, the kind of competitions you've exposed yourself but even in the way that you show up for your clients, the way that you run your business, the way that you navigate friendships, relationships, all the things has been like just a full 360 evolution. Like you are for sure the queen on the rocket ship, and we just love to see it. So I thought we would just start off with a little bit about your journey, where it kind of began in terms of like at what point you decided to work more inward to create more of the external results that you experience in your life.
I've always known that it's never necessarily just about the physical. Like, even though my actions was like, I need to do more, I need to do X, Y, and Z to be better, to prove myself and whatever. Like the physical, yes. Like I definitely fell into that trap, but I've always known kind of inside that it's not always just the physical about it at all. Hence why I do performance focused coaching rather than just kind of focusing on the aesthetic as such.
Yeah.
Um, but aside from all of that, to your point, like I would have said I've always been on like a bit of a self-development journey. I can't remember what at any point where I've not kind of gone into like kind of wanting to better myself from the inside out. And I don't know where that's come from, but it's just something that's always been there. But last year is when I took like the full plunge to kind of obviously what I was doing got me to a certain point, but it weren't going to take me to that next level where I had emotional mastery. I didn't understand how to actually process my emotions at all. I was constantly kind of up and down, or like I'd be really, really high, and then I'd always be dreading that high because then I'd expect a massive crash down. So I wouldn't want to do the highs and I'd sabotage myself and then we know the effect of that and it was a snowball.
Mm.
So last year I was in quite a bad place mentally. It was coming up to like the 2 year anniversary of my mum passing away. And I just kind of hit a bit of a rock, like that was a bit of a rock bottom moment. Like I was still functioning because I had to function because I had a business, but mentally I was just not in a good place at all. Um, which is where obviously I contacted you and started working with you.
Yeah, I have this really like favorite moment of mine in one of our sessions where Leah, obviously I said is my neighbor as well, and so she knows my dog and she knows me, and we've been on a bit of a journey with my dog and lovingly referred to him as an emotional outburst animal versus the emotional support animal that he was meant to be that I hired him for. But Leah came to me one day in our session and she was like, I'm not an emotional outburst animal anymore. And I just loved that so much because I see you so much more embodied in the way that you meet yourself, the way that you are really masterful with your emotions now. And it's almost like when you can meet yourself in your wholeness and be like, yeah, this is all of me. Like, yeah, I am sad and I am grieving and I am happy and I am powerful. It's like you almost get to hold the duality of both things and decide, well, if I'm all of it, and I always will, I'm everything, then which do I choose? And which witnessing you consciously choose how you move into your leadership, not just bypassing the emotions that are heavy, or, it can be really tempting to do something like that, but really integrating and using all of it and shifting the relationships that you have with all of it so that it doesn't feel out of your control anymore. And yeah, so I just really want to honor you for that. It's been such a joy to witness and walk this path with you.
Thank you. And I'm not going to lie, like it has been a journey, and obviously there is ups and downs with it all, but everything is so much more. We've always spoke about it, but that sense of calm, everything always comes back to that sense of calm and igniting that. And yeah, I actually think of it as a superpower because
Yeah.
not many people know how to do it, or they think they know how to do it, but if they're actually not actually doing it. And yeah, like throwing it back to like the world championships that I was stood at that start line and I don't know, I had like this God complex in like the best possible way of being like,
Yeah.
no one has my mentality or mindset at this start line right now. So I'm gonna run my race. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do. And yeah, like my race was the best I've ever raced. And
Amazing.
it felt good. Whereas fast forward 12 months ago, oh my God. Can I swear? Can I
Sure.
swear? I'd have been absolutely shitting myself.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, seeing how you evolve through your races as well, and just the way you meet yourself, what a beautiful space to be in, where you get to that start line and it actually feels like you've got this unfair advantage, kind of like doping on emotional mastery that actually just leads you through that in so much more of a powerful way. And you get to see how that's really played out in your performance as well. So I would love to hear as well another moment from you where you kind of surprised yourself in how you responded, either in a race or outside of.
Um, oh, I feel like there's so many. Like I feel like there is so many. Obviously, like the main thing that kind of realized to me that I'd kind of got this on lock now, this emotional mastery, is when I did Stockholm and obviously I won. Won my age, got my world qualification.
Yeah, let's take a moment for
Um,
that.
yeah. Um, but like that's when I kind of had fun with it. Like I played a game, I enjoyed it, and like I don't
Yeah.
think at the end to be successful, you have to be a sufferer and a struggle. Like you don't have to suffer and struggle to get to there. And I think you
Mm,
need to have fun to get there, or else obviously when you contract it, it's just not going to allow yourself to fly and be free. But even up until like the most recent one, I would say we're having quite a few shifts within Hylife at the moment, with coaches leaving and things like that. Nothing to do with the coaching, nothing to do with working for Hylife, just that they're on a complete different path.
mm,
Um, and I'm not gonna lie, that leap part of me did come up and was like,
mm,
it's your fault that they're leaving. They don't want to be around you. That kind of self self-absorbed, kind of self-conflicting thoughts, which isn't my identity anymore,
Mm.
did come up at that point. But instead of kind of, yeah, I was upset. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it has been stressful.
Yeah.
Yes, I am having to work a little bit more, but also as well at the same time, like things happen. Like it doesn't always have to be always you, but also as well, I'm fully accepting that if something was there, I will take full responsibility and ownership of that as well. Whereas me 12 months ago, if that happened, oh my God, business is ruined,
Yeah.
clients are leaving, I'm done with this, I'm going getting a job. I'd be looking to move like out the apartment. I'd be like, that's it, I'm done, fully like bankrupt career. Like that's what my head would have been like.
Yeah.
This time, we're not that anymore. Like we know we're in control. I fully support the girls who are the coaches who are leaving, because they're doing what's best for them, and I fully see
Yeah.
that. And I know sometimes people grow out, people grow apart, and that's absolutely fine too, because it's just part of the evolution in the journey.
Gorgeous. Such powerful reflections. And I want to split this into like the athleticism part and also the business side of things as well. But what I really see sort of shifts you and sets you apart from being in the fitness coaching industry is that it can be so easy for people to be so focused of the numbers of like, I've got to do this harder, I've got to suffer and struggle, I need to lift heavier, right? And then the way that you're sort of more embodied in the balance of masculine and feminine around that, and also the yes, you get to do this and you get to enjoy it. It gets to be fun. It's like the confetti doesn't just fall at the finish line or when you've podiumed or however else people measure it as when you've PB'd. Like you get to enjoy it all the time, even if you don't do a race, even if you don't PB this week. And I think that level of embodied leadership really shifts the way that people think about their training and actually just creates so much more of a powerful state of success as well. Because when you're in this kind of snowball effect of like, this is amazing. I'm doing so well. Like, regardless of the finish line, regardless of the podium placing or anything, you just naturally are on that frequency where good things just keep happening. But if you're always imagining in the future, I'm not there yet, I'm behind, I'm not good enough, you just drag yourself through this thing and makes it really hard. And the way that you meet your athletes from that perspective, I find so inspiring. And like I say, so different to the other messages that I see from a lot of coaches out there. So, do you want to share a bit more on that, on like how that actually is showing up for your athletes with this real shift in perspective and that more integrated approach to training?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, obviously, that people come to us obviously want a PB. They want to be the best that they can be. They're all
Yeah,
achievers. They want
yeah,
to, we know the type. So they
yes.
want to do more. They want to push. That's all they think they have to do to get to where they want to be. But there's no strategy there. Now, because there's no strategy, they're in that, like we said, in that frequency that is frantic. They want to just push, do whatever. They end up being burnt out. They end up being injured. They end
Mhm.
up not enjoying it. And I'm not gonna lie, I've sat on consultation calls with people and I've literally seen just them completely just drained and just the I can see, and I've said it to them myself, that they are not themselves on that call in a loving
Yeah,
and obviously compassionate way, but I can tell this isn't you on this call. Um, and the main thing that we do with the girls is just make sure that we have a strategy. Like it's not just necessarily about plugging things in just for the sake of plugging things in. Like you need a reason why that is on that plan, or else there's no point you actually doing it because it's not going to get you to where you want to be. You don't want to kind of just be throwing things at the wall and just seeing what sticks because it's nothing's going to stick and you're never going to know what's working and what's not working. And one example of a client, like she's been working with us for like 10 weeks now, and she was very much a class bunny. So she'd do one, two classes a week, a day, one or
yeah,
two classes a day. It wouldn't just be like a Pilates or a yoga. We're talking like Barry's, boot camp style classes, Hyrox sessions, like very intense working. And then she'd do runs on top of that. She'd then go and do like 20,000 steps because she felt like she needed to do that because she felt like she had to be skinnier, she had to be lighter,
Yeah.
and she was just massively under fueling as well. Put that on top of going out of the weekends, not that she was enjoying it because she felt like she had to, drinking, then being rough, and then in a cycle again all over the weekend. Now, with her, what we did, obviously, we do a testing week with the girls. And the reason why we do testing week is so we can actually see everything on a baseline level. And then we can work with what we've got. Now, once we can work with what we've got, we can actually build a strategy in place to help them get to where they want to be. Now, she still does a class a week, but she's literally taken her running from running 4 minutes 50 kilometers in an interval session, bringing it all the way down to 408 kilometers within the space of 10 weeks because she's got that strategy there. She's feeling
Yeah.
lighter, she's feeling recovered because she's feeling to perform. Her
Yeah.
body, because she's feeling to perform and giving her body the nourishment that it needs, recovering, sleeping well, still goes out at the weekend, but she
Mm,
never enjoyed drinking anyway. But she's been able now with kind of things that I've helped with, because I've been there, done that myself,
yeah.
of explaining and having them conversations with people to be like, I don't really want to drink anymore. I'm still going to be here, but I just don't appreciate you speaking to me about that, or like trying to get me a drink or just pouring a drink in front of me.
Mm,
And she's had them conversations and she's feeling better. She sleeps better. Her anxiety is a lot better.
yeah.
And because of all of that, as a byproduct, her body physically is so much less inflamed. She's actually looking so much stronger. She looked good before, but now bloody hell, she's looking insane. And she's just come on leaps and bounds with strength, speed, endurance, everything. And her life just somehow is getting so much better as well because she's on that frequency of not proving. She's on that frequency of knowing she is enough and what she is
Yeah.
doing is working everything in her favor.
Stunning. And like this is one thing that I just so admire about you as well, and the way that you support the women you work with, because it isn't just like, here's your plan and here's a diet plan. Like you are so invested in the people that you work with. And even when you and I were working together and training for Hyrox, it's like really making sure, okay, well, if you're not sleeping at night and you're probably overtraining or under eating, and like really helping me to refine that so that I can find the sweet spot where my training is supportive and elevating. And then beyond that, like feeling good, not even in just like the things that we do inside of the gym, but also what how you translate that outside as well. And when you are embodied in that confidence, when you are like, I'm a boss regardless of whether I had a PV or not today, that translates everywhere. You start to separate from this idea of like a failure in my gym session means a failure of me, into just like, hey, that's just how I showed up on the day. That's just what
Yeah.
happened in that moment. So yeah, I love that you are providing such a holistic and well-rounded support to your clients, and even seeing how you've walked your path and how you now hold yourself in a much higher way. Like you can see how that translates to the space that you hold your clients into as well. Like really seeing them so much more embodied in their power too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the girls, they're insane.
Yeah.
Like each and every one of them, they're incredible.
Mm. Yeah, it's a wonderful community space. I would love to move into leadership as well. And when you were mentioning about running your business and having some kind of turbulent things coming up, what I really loved is you didn't sell the dream of like, yeah, now I'm just never worried again. And I remember when I first started doing this work, I said, I don't want to give you the impression that we get rid of these parts. They're still going to be there, but you change the relationship that you have with them. So as you say, like these parts come up where somebody leaves and a part tries to convince you that it's about you, that you effed up or that you aren't good enough in some way. And it's like when you can really create this space between you and that part, you don't have to believe the story. You don't have to be identified in it. You don't have to judge yourself for it. You get to see, like, I'm all of it. So which bit do I really want to be in to lead with that? And it is easy to like work with parts from the past. And I see you so much more working with the parts from the future, the ones that are more grounded and that can experience these things that you move through in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a difficult school, right? The
It's a
curriculum is
wild
hard.
ride.
it really is. It's a wild ride of initiation after initiation. And we say every level has a new devil. And so it's like the more that you've been going through this journey, I see you more embodied in like, oh, this is the dragon I slay on this level. Like
Oh,
this is the portal I'm looking through. Whereas so many people get so triggered by the thing they're being presented with, as you say, takes them out of the game, gets them like, oh well, I'm gonna go work in the job now. I'm gonna go back into the 9 to 5, like screw this is too hard. But being able to be unshakable and be like, this is hard and also I can do it. This is hard and
yeah,
also, yeah, the conversation we had recently around is like more is more. Like more clients means more coaches means more coaches leave and more coaches come in, more clients means more clients come in and out. And it's you can't play the game of entrepreneurship without playing the game of entrepreneurship. You have to get your ass in the arena and be brave enough to get your ass kicked through that process because you will never do that perfectly or you will never do it. And everyone is always happy and everything always goes to plan. So I know you mentioned this a lot about using everything that you experience as like life being a game. I would love to hear you speak more to that and particularly how this has shown up in your leadership, in your business.
bit like Tetris, isn't it? Like one thing moves and then another thing moves. And I think even like this, I'm not even gonna lie, this with the coaches moving and like leaving, it was a bit of a bit of a rock. It was a
Yeah.
bit of a rock. Because it's happened so close together. However, like this week, I have really just taken the time to like just take a step back and just take things slower. Yes, I've been busy doing stuff, but I've been enjoying more coaching the clients. I've been enjoying that side a lot more because I've taken the pressure off of being like, you need to hit this month, you need to get this amount of client, you need like, no, we don't need to do anything. That's the pressure I put on myself.
Yeah.
Now, with life being a game, like business is a game. It's a frequency thing. Like if you're not high vibing, you're not the vibes ain't gonna be high within the business.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want. So for me to take some time back, it's not necessarily because I need time. It's just because I wanted that space. I wanted that space to be able to allow myself to feel what I needed to feel,
Mm.
to process what I needed to process, to be able to move forward and feel more empowered. Now, with the game, like I said, it is literally like Tetris. Like there'll be always something that does come up. And it's like you kind of got to expect in entrepreneurship and in his business, something will always come up. Nothing is ever going to be plain sailing, but how you choose to view that situation is what will make and define how you come out of that situation. Now, like I was saying, old me would chose to think this is the world's ending. New me is seeing this as like an opportunity for growth, not just for the business, but a growth for myself of like, okay, what can I learn from this situation? How can I be a better leader and
Mm.
also create a better community with the coaches? How can I improve on things like that? But also as well, like accept that I've done a really bloody good job too, because
Yeah.
at the same time, one of the girls is going focusing on her own business, which has been growing whilst also been working with me. So I've helped her with that side of things. One of the other coaches is leaving to leave a complete different career path, but she's loved every single bit of learning and growing with me, and she's grown and evolved as a person. Both of them have with working with me. So, yeah, like you've just got to kind of expect things are going to come up, and you've just got to choose how you view the situation rather than feeling that, yeah, the world's ending.
Mm. Yeah, I'm really hearing like such an identity shift and like the old me would do this. The sort of like past part versions of me have
10
a
energy.
real, yeah, we do like embodiment rating scale work. And when you're like, oh, I'm embodied in like my higher energy, my 10 out of 10 energy, it's like, this is how she moves. So yeah, when you get that temptation to like, oh, the old part, who's often like well trained and well practiced, they really want to do this. And when you create that space to be like, is that actually how I want to move now? The universe will always test you and be like, are you who you say you are? Come on, let's embody some of the work you've done. Here's your opportunity.
Oh,
And
this
it's
last
like,
few weeks has definitely been that.
Yeah, so like you've been training for this, darling. Here you go. Here's your stage, time to shine, and you get to choose to embody that, or there's a part of you that's like, I'm not ready yet. I want to flex this muscle. And the fact that you can hold that, yes, even when it's kind of a stormy sea, even like holding the duality of both, because you can be upset that a relationship in some way it kind of comes to an end. And also you cannot see it as an end point, but more of an evolution, more of a reimagining of like, yeah, this change doesn't need to mean anything about that, even if my mind tries to convince me that that's the case. So I love that you're seeing this. And one thing I really see you shifted in as well is from this space of trusting everyone's divine journey, knowing like none of us know what is best for somebody else, but giving somebody the space to really trust and own their power and own their journey. And if someone's journey is out of high life and into something else, it's like creating the space to really be able to honor that and know it isn't because you did something wrong or you didn't do
Yeah.
something enough. So yeah, I really love how you named that. Yeah. How do you feel like has things that have most shifted within the business since doing the inner work?
Um, I wouldn't say there's just one specific thing. I'd just say everything, like everything. How I coach my clients, how I kind of coach the coaches too, like literally everything, even consultation calls. Like when I first started, I think it's quite hard initially when you first start doing online consultations with people when you're used to doing them in the gym floor, in a little room, tucked
Yeah.
away. You can see people's body language, you can read everything. Whereas on Zoom, obviously, you can't see. I talk with my hands quite a lot. A lot of people, like, you can see my body language, like, you can see how I'm responding a lot better because I'm quite like animated like that. Whereas not a
Yeah.
lot of people are always like that. So you can't necessarily read that. I used to struggle with that so much, and I honestly used to dread them. Like, I really did used to dread them because I could not hold capacity if people's limitations did come up. And I
Mm,
would just buy into the limitations and just be like, yeah, that's fine. Like, wish you all the best, whatever. Even
yeah.
though deep down, knowing I would 100% help that person get to that next level and be the best version of themselves. And then after the call, I'd kind of come away and be like kicking myself, beating myself up, being like, why didn't you say that on the call? Because at the end of the day, like consultation calls with people, I am not here to drag you kicking and screaming to join my team. Like, I don't want you to do that. In the nicest possible way, if people are thinking about joining my team, I don't need you, but also as well, I know I can help absolutely every single one person who sits on a call with me.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's the biggest shift as well. Like, I don't need clients. I I don't need the business to grow. I do this purely out of love because I know I can change someone's life. I know as a
Mm,
team, we can change people's lives. And I think because I've had that mental shift, I can hold capacity for people. I can have open and honest conversations with people of being like,
yeah.
listen, at the end of the day, you can join the team, you don't have to join the team, but also as well question and challenge them in a comfortable way rather than how I was originally taught to do consultations was very kind of masculine energy, kind of not beating people up, but make them feel bad for feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
That never aligned with me, which obviously, understandably, didn't make me feel comfortable in consultations if people had a limitation coming up. Whereas
Mm,
now, like, because I'm not gonna lie, as a business owner, you do have to be in your masculine pretty much all the time, but also as well at the same time have some feminine edge to that. Um, because I am more understanding, I am more open to hearing people's opinions. I'm not scared of hearing what people have to say anymore.
mhm,
I've shown up so much better on that side of things. And I feel like the conversations and quality of conversations I'm having with people now is so much better than when I did initially. And that's
mm,
kind of elevated me as a person, elevated the business, but also as well, giving that person on the other end of the call such a better experience of speaking to me and knowing exactly what I'm about.
yeah.
Um, and knowing who I am, like who I actually am rather than someone who I was pretending to be.
Yeah. I love this so much. And I think so many people are trained in sales from that perspective of like, tell someone they've got a bleeding neck and the only way for them to fix that is to come and work with you, like really hammer into their pain points. And someone tried to sell to me like that the other day, and I was just like, yeah, this isn't aligned for
This
me.
isn't for me.
They're like, why do you think you haven't got to where you want to be yet? And I'm like, I'm loving every part of this journey, and I know there's so much more for me than this. And they're like, do you think this is the only solution for you? And I was like, just to be clear, I'm the solution. This is a pathway, but this doesn't feel aligned. But what I really see in like, because yeah, that a lot of people they do get trained to do sales in that way. And you've really moved into more of a space of like high involvement, low attachment, feminine sales that we work into where it's like you're selling is a service. If someone wants to come into your world and they say like, hey, I want to know what it's like to be coached by you, if you're the person that buys into their limitation, which, often our mindset is kind of here, and when you work with somebody, you get to open the aperture of that awareness a bit wider and then decide how you want to make your empowered yes or no, or maybe later from that elevated and expanded space. But if you're the kind of person where someone says, oh, I don't think I can actually do it, and you're like, okay, well, then you probably can't, like, see you later. You're not going to be a
No.
coach who can guide them through transformation. So by being able to show up and serve them on that call, regardless of whether they're a yes or no into your program, is really powerful because then they get to see like, wow, Leah's actually invested in this. Well, Leah sees me at a higher space than maybe I'm seeing myself at this point. Like maybe I am capable, or maybe I am worthy of investing in myself, even though I've never done that before. It's almost like they identity shift in that moment, which enables them to become way more successful as an athlete and in all areas of their life. And then also you end up with a space where you actually have more self-led, more empowered people in your community who aren't there because they're a victim looking for a hero to save them. So I know even from your space, the community aspect has really evolved and leveled up. And that's such a huge selling point of being in Hylife because you are around these empowered women who will uplift and support one another versus buying into like, oh yeah, well, you are a mum, so you are probably too busy, so just don't train anymore. Like it's not that vibe. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah. It's it's just really nice. Like it's really nice to have that
Mhm.
because again, I feel so much calmer. When I feel calm, everything else feels so much easier.
Yeah, and it's in alignment when you're selling in a way that feels icky or feels like disempowered, you're not going to feel good doing it. So the fact that you
No.
can show up of like, this is me, this is a value aligned way that I like to serve people. And you say I can help everyone on that call, but I know for sure you've had people on the calls and you've said, actually, you're not a good fit for this program.
Yeah.
So it's like it's that integrity of I I will hold the people who I know will benefit from this space. And if they're not the frequency match or they're not aligned in some way, like I know you're honest about that too, which I think shows a lot of your integrity also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Girl, you just changed so much. I want to know, like, where do you feel most proud of the women that you are evolving into and have evolved into?
Everywhere. I'll be completely honest, like every single aspect, like I don't genuinely think there is one point where I actually feel everything's elevated. Like it's not just one thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. Such a hard question. I think the biggest thing for me was obviously for what I do, I don't have to perform at a high level. Like people come to me for me,
Yeah.
but I like to have myself performing to a high standard and level as an athlete
Mm,
because in all honesty, it helps me in terms of the business perspective attract them higher achieving clients who want to set big goals but are scared to set them big goals. And they see my journey and they're like, oh my God, Leah's achieved that. I'm
yeah.
actually where she was a few years ago. Like, let me like work with her. So the biggest thing I'd say is just like actually believing that I actually am an athlete. Like
Yeah.
I actually say that now. Whereas again, a few years ago, would not be having this conversation with you.
I mean, a few years ago, if I'd have asked you, like, what are you proud of, you wouldn't be able to give me an answer necessarily. And
You
ask you now,
know,
and you're like, so many things, all the things, I'm proud of everything.
yeah,
Look at all of this. Like, what a, and you can just see that and feel that in your frequency, that level of embodiment around, like, yeah, this gets to feel good. I should be proud of myself. And I think there are so many women who maybe are like, oh, well, I can do that. I can be there. And so having you model that to them, like, yes, you can feel good. Yes, you can be an athlete. Yes, you can own your success and embody it. And kind of giving your nervous system those examples as well of being like, oh, you think you can't do it because you're here? Well, let me show you 100 examples of the women I've worked with and the diverse range of experiences they've had and where they've started and where they've got to. When you know that your method is like, it's key, which it is, then it's like, well, you're not going to be the exception to that. And if I believe in you, come and join this space.
yeah,
Yeah, it really helps people to see such a bigger vision for themselves too. And I'm glad that you're just, yeah, so connected to that and are able to see and hold all of that power that you created.
yeah, yeah. It's I'm not gonna lie, like I still I believe it more now, but I like sometimes I'm like, can't really believe this is the power that I've got for myself.
Yeah.
It's just taken back that control completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Which comes back to like playing a game. And when you are the one who's in control of the game, it's even more fun when you get
Yeah.
to choose like which avatar player you want to drive with. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love this so much. So, what would you say to the woman who is in the space where she's like, I don't know if I could do that, but I'm kind of curious to find out?
In what sense? In business, in training, like
Oh, well, I was thinking in training, but answer it however you like to.
I think you've just got to believe. Like, I know you might not fully believe it, but you have to just believe. Like, you just have to. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how I got to this point right now. I mean, I do, looking back on reflection, know exactly how I got here. But at the same time, I set these goals unknowingly where it'd actually end up or how I'd actually get there. And I think that's just come from kind of using me feeling a bit like a outsider when I was younger to as a bit of fuel in a way to be like, yeah, you might be an outsider, but that kind of gives you that underdog kind of experience to be like, no one's expecting anything of you, so you may as well aim over high than what you thought you could do, and then just see what happens. And I think that's kind of the mentality that you kind of got to go in with it because no one knows your expectations, no one knows where you want to set yourself other than yourself. So you are not letting yourself down or anybody else down if you aim
Mm.
too high and you don't achieve it. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it's not life or death unless you are doing something quite extreme. But like it's not life or death at the end of the day. And if you try and you quote unquote fail, then you just go back to the drawing board and find another way. Doesn't mean you have to give up getting to that point.
Mm. Yeah, I love this in the sense of like, yeah, your goals, they're not too big. So you can go for it. And I think a lot of people buy into this misunderstanding of like, well, I don't want to set my goal too big because then I don't want to be disappointed. And it's like, no, girl, you can be disappointed. Like you'll be fine if you're disappointed, but you can also, as they say, shoot for the moon, end up among the stars. Are you going to be sadder amongst the stars and well on your way to the moon? No, you're going to be proud that you took the leap and aren't still standing kind of in the muck. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I love this idea of, most of the time when we choose to do anything that is going to require us to identity shift because it's going to be doing something different or more than what we've done before, there is going to be an element of fear with that. And this is where you learn how to walk with the duality of both because, yeah, you do something differently to your nervous system. Whatever is different feels unsafe and therefore is scary. So, yeah, there'll be fear. But when you expand your capacity for fear, you also expand your capacity for whatever lies on the other side of that fear. So, we get this sense of like energy is, oh, we're going to go into some quantum nonsense now, but energy, it's not created or destroyed, it's only transformed. So you have this energy, and yes, your fear can be this powerful, like big energy, you can use a lot of your energy there, or you can transform that into your power that fuels your rocket ship and takes you to the moon. And that's really what I see you've done over the last sort of year and a half that I've known you as well. Is like you direct your energy to your focus. And I remember you showed me your vision board and you're like, can we just celebrate that every single thing on here just happened? And I'm like, yeah, because if you aren't kind of paying attention or you're not going to have the courage to really want what you want. Like the universe is not on a budget. The universe doesn't care if you're worthy enough or rich enough or hot enough or whatever to have your goal. It's like if I want this thing and I focus my energy to it, I shift my identity to becoming the match for that. Then this just gets to be a game. Or what if I just play this role and see what happens? And maybe it happens the way I thought it was going to happen, or maybe something even better happens. Maybe something even different to what I imagined gets to be my experience from this. And I've really seen that kind of play out with you numerous times too.
Yeah. If it's not this, it's always something better. That's the main thing that I say to myself. Because it always is. It
Yeah.
always is.
Yeah. One thing I really love about your content, Leah, is you really do share vulnerably about your experience as well. And you talk a lot about your relationship with your inner child as well. And so I'm wondering if you can share with with the listeners here more about how that relationship has shifted and evolved.
Not gonna lie, we thought ignorance was bliss with that little one. We thought ignorance was bliss with that one. Um, but it soon come to a light that she is the loudest, noisiest person when things aren't going necessarily her way. She really throws her toys out the pram. And if we don't stop and listen to her, then she makes my life very, very difficult. Um, in the nicest possible way. So I've kind of learned to not ignore how she feels, how she thinks, because when I do that, I don't feel my best self. It brings my energy down.
Yeah.
And that's not good for her, and that's not good for me because it makes it more painful for her as well. So the relationships evolved to a place where it's like I am like the older sister, she's the little sister, and it's like I'm taking her under my arm for everything that I do, take her along on the journey. I don't drag her kicking and screaming no more and be like, fuck you, we're going doing this anyway, even though you don't want
Yeah.
to do it, we're gonna do it. No, I don't do that, and that's why I like to play games. We love to play a game, whether that is on a running track, where we like to play like Mario Kart and just pick up the mushrooms or the rainbows or the stars or whatever.
I love that.
Um, some of the girls on the coaching team also do that too. And the girl I was on about before, who's taken her pacings from 450s to like 405s, she's done exactly the same. She used to feel awful going to the track, but it was just during a child because when she was younger, she was never sporty in school. She's always the outsider at school, so she
Yeah.
associated that with that. And like obviously it's well above my pay grade to go into detail with that, but I can provide techniques from my experience if they're going through a similar thing.
Mm,
And yeah, as you can tell with the numbers, they do not lie, and she's got faster. Same with me. Like soon
yeah.
as we stopped kind of making it feel like a suffer and struggle, my numbers got faster. Same with the business. Numbers get better
Yeah.
when she's having fun and she's not scared.
Yeah. It's amazing when you dive into these parts and see how much wisdom they really have, that they're really pointing us to like to the answer, to the roadmap and saying like, hey, I want this to be more fun. Okay, let me make it more fun. Or I'm feeling unaligned with the way that we're selling. Okay, let me tune in with that. But when you don't listen to these parts of you, as you say, they get louder, they jump up and down, they're having huge tantrums. And then it's almost like you're trying to go forward, but you're dragging along this like toddler that's attached to your leg, kicking and screaming. So by bringing her along, she gets to like skip and play and like join you on this adventure. So I love that. And I would love to hear, and you could take a minute with this one if you want to, but if you had a message that you wanted to give to your younger self, what would you say to her?
Um, I'd say life gets to be good when you choose it to be good and you don't think everything is against you or working against you because everything is actually working for you. And sometimes you just need to take a step back, look at it with a wider lens, and know that everything is going to work out okay. And you have got people around you who do love you, who do support you, and the people who are there, they're meant to be there every single step of the way.
Yeah, I love this. I'm sure that would be so nourishing for so many people listening to hear too, to know like you're always supported. It's always working out, even when it looks like it isn't. And sometimes we only know that when we connect the dots looking backwards, even when it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Yeah, I love this. And how about if we were going to fast forward into the future of like what's next for Lhea, where she's going? What would future Lhea look back on and say to you now, do you think?
Um, just keep going, but always be in alignment. Like, even though it's sometimes hard to be in alignment when things do come up or like past experiences do trigger things inside of you, like, always reflect back and think, right, is this actually truly aligning or is it not? And if it's not aligning, then just do something about it. Like, don't kind of just hold on to something just for the sake of holding on to something because it's more painful than just letting that bit go. Because how, like, thinking back to like one of our sessions, like sometimes you just have to just lean in and you're holding onto this barbed wire and you're holding onto it, and then you're like, I don't want to drop down because I don't want to fall, I don't want to die, whatever. And you're only probably about an inch off the floor when you just let go.
Mm.
And yeah, just let go of things that don't serve you or don't align.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I always love this visual image and sometimes we get so used to holding onto the barbed wire that for us we don't realize how bad it feels until we let go of it and we let go thinking this really bad thing is going to happen and it's like, oh, turns out I just landed on a bed of grass and daisies. It was just 2 inches underneath my feet. So yeah, really gorgeous advice. I love that. So I want to know, is there anything that you want to share with the community around Hyrox or High Life or anything else that you want to share that you feel is really important to touch on today?
I would just say to anyone, like, even if you don't necessarily, not even necessarily about Hyrox, but like if you've got something in mind that you want to achieve, just go and do it because life is genuinely too short. And at the end of the day, like you don't know when your last day is going to be. Like none of us know that. So I would much rather know that I've done everything I can to be where I want to be and be happy and content rather than kind of just coasting and just settle for being average because we don't do that. And if you are wanting to get into Hyrox, you wanted to kind of know about what we do, I'm sure Katie will put my Instagram and links in the description or whatever,
Yeah.
then just have a conversation. Like if you've never done it before, have a conversation. But also as well, if you're someone who has competed before, who is wanting to take it to that next level, who is wanting to be a high achiever, go to world championships, go on the podiums, be excited and not kind of confused anymore about how to get there, then High Life is 110% for you because we are then people who are going to that next level. Because of the method that we have. It is tested, proven, data driven. Nothing is programmed because of guessing. It is there to empower you and make you feel like the best athlete. And that athlete on that start line, like I was, who has that God complex of being like, I've got this shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to have that conversation as well, I'm sure Katie will drop all my details below. But yeah, if you've not
Yeah.
done Hyrox or don't know what it is, get to know what it is because it's taken over.
It really is. And I can like honestly say, having been someone who has walked the path of Hyrox with Lhea, we actually did a Hyrox together as well. I mean, she'll probably remember better than me what my PB was on my 5K run, but in such a short amount of time, like having somebody who walks this path with you, who really believes in you, who will support you on like such a 360 level, it's like you can't not fly. Like I wouldn't consider myself as an athlete really, but the numbers we were getting in that Hyrox
The
doubles.
numbers do not lie.
The numbers don't lie. And it was such an enjoyable experience as well, and so great to share that with somebody who I love and admire so much. So
Thank you.
if people are listening and they're like, okay, how do I actually work with Lhea? What is proximity like? What programs do you have? What have you got coming up? What can you share with people?
So we have one signature program, different levels of support on that, depending what you currently need. Called the Hylife formula, based around four key components and pillars that base your individual program that's going to take you to that next level. Not just focusing on the training, not just focusing on the nutrition, because you can have the best training nutrition program in the world. You on paper could be the best athlete, but if you get to race day and don't know how to handle your emotions or handle yourself, then you're never ever going to deliver to what you want to be or expecting to be. And that is why we designed this. And this is something we've been working, not necessarily been working on, we've been running this program for the last 4 years with hundreds of success with athletes all around the world, not just UK, who have achieved podiums, who have achieved world championship qualifications, who have taken it to that next level, all because they said yes to themselves and their dreams whilst having fun.
Yeah, I love that. And where can people find you? Can you drop your
So you can either contact me at Lhea.Terzaki on Instagram, or you can drop Hylife.Coaching on Instagram, a message on either or, and we can have a chat.
Beautiful. And I'll put those links in the show notes as well. So if you don't remember that, go check it out below. But Lhea, this was such a gorgeous conversation. I am so proud of you. I love you so much. And I'm really happy to share you on this platform too.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Welcome. This conversation is such a beautiful reminder that the more anchored you are into your inner world, the more powerful your outer world becomes. And Lhea is just such a breathing embodiment of this. And if you loved hearing from her, go check her out on Instagram, check out everything she's building at High Life. Her athletes are magnetic because they're not just training bodies, they're becoming whole women in the process. And if today's episode lit fire inside of you, let it move you. Follow the show, leave us a 5-star review, and share this with the women in your world who are ready to step into their unfiltered, embodied power too. We all get to rise together. And if you're ready to do this work in real time, join me inside my programs. You can either check out the show notes or drop me a DM for more. Your next level isn't something you hustle for, it's something you remember. I'll see you next time.